Forgiveness is my function as the light of the world. Forgiveness is your function as the light of the world. Forgiveness is your function as the light of the world. Forgiveness is your function as the light of the world. Forgiveness is your function as the light of the world. Forgiveness is my function as the light of the world. Forgiveness is my function as the light of the world. Forgiveness is your function as the light of the world. Forgiveness is my function as the light of the world. Forgiveness is my function as the light of the world. Forgiveness is my function as the light of the world. Forgiveness is my function as the light of the world. Forgiveness is my function as the light of the world. Forgiveness is my function as the light of the world. Forgiveness is my function as the light of the world. Forgiveness is your function as the light of the world. Forgiveness is my function as the light of the world. Forgiveness is your function as the light of the world. Forgiveness is my function as the light of the world. Forgiveness is your function as the light of the world. Forgiveness is my function as the light of the world. Forgiveness is your function as the light of the world. Forgiveness is my function as the light of the world. Forgiveness is your function as the light of the world. Forgiveness is my function as the light of the world. Forgiveness is your function as the light of the world. Forgiveness is my function as the light of the world. Forgiveness is your function as the light of the world. Forgiveness is my function as the light of the world. Forgiveness is my function as the light of the world. Forgiveness is your function as the light of the world. Forgiveness is our function as the light of the world. Forgiveness is my function as the light of the world. Forgiveness is your function as the light of the world. Forgiveness is my function as the light of the world. Good morning. Good morning, Susan. Good morning, mighty companions. It's awesome. It's great to see you. It's great to be here with you. I'm going to do the Course in Miracles lesson for today, which is lesson 62. Forgiveness is my function as the light of the world. And like I did yesterday, Earl and mighty companion, I'm going to give you the Course in Miracles definition of forgiveness. The Course in Miracles definition of forgiveness is correct perception. The Course in Miracles definition of forgiveness is true perception. That forgiveness is true perception. When you are perceiving correctly, that is forgiveness. And perception is interpretation. It says perception means interpretation. Perception means learning. So a perception is an interpretation. So your perception is an interpretation. And so whatever you see is basically your interpretation. What you're seeing is the meaning that you're giving anything and everything. So the correct interpretation is forgiveness. So you are forgiving me when you are seeing me correctly. And when you are seeing me correctly, you are seeing me as love. And you're seeing me in a way that is peaceful for you. So your function is to correctly perceive. You are here in this world to see things correctly, Earl. You are in this world to see things correctly, mighty companion. If the truth is going to be in this world, then the truth has to be in this world through you and through me. So forgiveness is my function as the light of the world. And we said yesterday that light means truth, that the Course in Miracles says that truth means light. So that means forgiveness is my function as the light of the world. Another way to say that is correct perception. Having correct perception is my function as the truth of the world. Truly perceiving is my function as the light or love or truth of the world. So it is your forgiveness, it is your correct perception that will bring the world of darkness to the light. It is your correct perception that will bring the world of fear to love. It is your forgiveness. It is your correct perception that lets you recognize the light in which you see. It is your correct perception that lets you recognize the light in which you see. Hello, Blue. It's great to see you joining me today. So therefore, forgiveness is the demonstration that you are the truth of the world. Correctly perceiving with love, having correct interpretation is the demonstration that you are the light of the world, that you are the love of the world. So it's through your forgiveness, it's through your correct perception that the truth about yourself returns to your memory. The way that the truth about yourself returns to your memory, the way the truth about yourself as being only loved and lovable returns to your memory is through forgiveness, and forgiveness is your correct perception of things. Forgiveness is true perception. Therefore, your salvation, your happiness, your right-mindedness lies in your forgiveness. So your right-mindedness, which is salvation, means right-mindedness. These are all Course in Miracles definitions of these terms. I'm not making it up. So salvation is right-mindedness. Salvation is the escape from concepts. So it's in your forgiveness. It's in your correct perception that your healing lies, that your salvation lies. It's in your correct perception. Illusions about yourself and illusions about the world are one, means false ideas about yourself and false ideas about the world are the same thing. Shirley, great to see you. That's why all forgiveness is a gift to yourself. All forgiveness is a gift to yourself. All correct perception is a gift to you. All correct perception is a gift to you, Earl Purdy. All correct perception is a gift to you, mighty companion. Your goal is to find out who you are. Your goal is to find out who you are. Find out who you are. Find out who you are. Your goal is to find out who you are, having denied your true identity, and you deny your true identity by attacking creation and attacking its creator. Now you are learning how to remember the truth. Now you are learning how to remember the truth. Now you're learning how to remember the truth. We're on lesson 62 in the Course in Miracles workbook. Forgiveness is my function as the light of the world. So now you're learning how to remember the truth. Now I'm learning how to remember the truth. Now you're learning how to remember the truth. Now I'm learning how to remember the truth. And so this attack on yourself and your attack on others through any kind of fear or anger or separation, this attack must be replaced by forgiveness. Attack must be replaced by correct perception. Attack must be replaced by loving perception. Attack must be replaced by true interpretation. Forgiveness is true interpretation. So attack must be replaced by forgiveness so that thoughts of life may replace thoughts of death. You want thoughts of life to replace thoughts of death. Thoughts of life replacing thoughts of death. That's going to happen when you forgive. And to forgive means to correctly perceive, to truly interpret. Remember that in every attack you call on your own weakness. Earl, in every attack you call on your own weakness. This is the Holy Spirit, the higher self, speaking through your body, Earl, to you, and speaking to your mighty companion that's joining you in this workbook lesson. So remember, in every attack you call upon your own weakness. Okay, I need to remember in every attack, in every anger, and all my upset, in any kind of attack, I'm calling on my own weakness. While each time you forgive, each time you correctly perceive, every time you forgive, you call upon the strength of Christ in you. And do you know that the Course in Miracles describes Christ as your true self, as extended as the one creation of love of the Creator. So the Christ is another way of saying your real self, your true self, your loving self. So it's reminded me that in every attack, I call upon my own weakness, while each time I forgive, each time I see things the way that the Course in Miracles is teaching me to see things, then I'm calling upon the strength of my real self, the love in me, the Christ in me. And every time you forgive, every time you correctly perceive, you're also calling on the strength of love in you, the strength of Christ in you. So do you not then begin to understand what forgiveness will do for you? Are you beginning to see what forgiving will do for you? Are you beginning to see what correct perception will do for you? Are you beginning to see what forgiveness will do for you? Well, let me tell you what correctly perceiving will do for you. Let me tell you what forgiveness will do for you, Earl. Let me tell you what forgiveness will do for you. Let me tell you what correct interpretation will do for you. Remember, the true meaning of forgiveness is correct perception. So, when you have correct perception, which is forgiveness, when you have correct perception, which is forgiveness, when you have correct perception, which is forgiveness, it will remove all sense of weakness. Correct perception will remove all strain. Correct perception will remove all fatigue from your mind. So when you're seeing things correctly, you won't be tired. When you're forgiving and seeing things correctly, you won't feel like you're under a strain. When you forgive and see things correctly, you will not feel weak. So when you are forgiving, you don't feel weak. When you are a forgiving mind, you don't feel strained. When you are a forgiving person, you don't feel tired. Also, let me tell you what forgiveness will do for you. Now remember, don't forget the new meaning of forgiveness. I'm not talking about trying to forgive somebody for something that you think they did to hurt you in the past. The Course in Miracles definition of forgiveness is true perception, correct perception, which is correct interpretation. What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up, Lila? What's up? What's up? What's up? It's good to see you. You like the robe? This is the Hugh Hefner Course in Miracles workbook lesson. I want to do my workbook lesson, and I do it in the morning, and I'm not going to put on clothes every morning in order to do lessons with everybody live. I want to chill out in the morning, just like you chill out in the morning, but I want to share with you, and I want to do this with you. So you're going to see Earl Purdy in a lot of robes so that I can do this spontaneously, So that's what time it is, because we just want to have a good time and just feel relaxed in the morning, even though this may be watched during different times through the day. So it's not the content that matters. It's not the form that matters. It's the content that matters. So let me tell you again that if you forgive, if you correctly perceive, Ricardo, good to see you, brother. If you correctly perceive, it's also going to take away all fear and guilt and pain. Forgiveness takes away. I want you to visualize that. Forgiveness takes away, like you take away a tray. Forgiveness takes away, didn't say some fear. It says forgiveness takes away all fear, and forgiveness takes away all guilt, and forgiveness takes away all pain. So how do you know if you have truly forgiven? How do you know if you are truly perceiving? What's up, Cheryl? What's up, Cheryl? How do you know when you have truly forgiven? If you have truly forgiven, you are not afraid. If you have truly forgiven, you don't feel guilt. And if you've truly forgiven, you don't feel pain. So if you're truly perceiving, then you don't feel fear, you don't feel guilt, and you don't feel pain. That's how you know if you're really doing it. Another way to look at it is that forgiveness is using the thought system that the Course in Miracles teaches. So if a person is applying the thought system that the Course in Miracles is teaching, then that person should not feel weak. That person should not feel like they're strained. That person should not feel like they are fatigued if they're truly applying the Course in Miracles thought system, which is forgiveness. It will take away your fear. It'll take away your guilt. And it will take away your pain if you're truly using the Course in Miracles thought system, which is forgiveness. Forgiveness and the Course in Miracles thought system are the same thing. Also, if you forgive, Earl, Raj, if you truly forgive, mighty companion, forgiveness will restore the invulnerability and power that God gave you to your awareness. You will become aware again that if you're truly perceiving, if you're seeing things correctly, then you should feel invulnerable and you should feel truly powerful. These are all the ways you can keep from fooling yourself. These are all the ways that you can get out of denial about what's really going on within you. So let's be glad to begin and end this day in practicing today's idea. Forgiveness is my function as the light of the world. Use forgiveness is my function as the light of the world. Use it as frequently as possible throughout the day. So throughout this day, in every situation and circumstance that comes up, hello, Yvette. Good that you're here with me. You want to make sure that you use this idea as frequently as you can today. Use this idea as frequently as you can today. What idea? Correctly perceiving is my function as the light of the world. Perceiving correctly is my function as the truth and love of the world. Forgiveness is correct perception. Forgiveness is perceiving correctly. And do you know you are not perceiving correctly unless you are perceiving the way that the truth is teaching you? You're not truly perceiving correctly if the Course in Miracles is your path unless you are looking at things through the lens of what the Course in Miracles teaches you. So, use forgiveness is my function as the light of the world as frequently as possible today, because it will help you make this day as happy as your Creator, God, wants you to be. Your Creator, God, wants you to be happy. Seeing correctly, giving meanings to everything that are the correct meanings, that is forgiveness. And that will make this day as happy as the Creator wants this day to be for you. You want this day to be happy. Your Creator wants this day to be happy for you. The way to make this day happy for you is to use correct perception. Of course, in Miracles teaches you the correct way to see things. When you're seeing things correctly, that is forgiveness. So forgiveness, which is seeing everything correctly, it will help those around you as well as those who seem to be far away in space and time. So you seeing correctly will help those around you. You seeing correctly will help those who are far away from you. Forgiveness is correct perception. Forgiveness is your correct perception. Now, while I'm doing this video, please subscribe. Please make sure that you touch the hearts as much as possible and generate as much activity and comments and shares, because the more you do that, the more it extends the reach of this video out on Facebook. Plus, it's awesome for me to be sharing and to see these hearts traveling across the screen, because it makes me choose to feel like I am loved and appreciated, and I want you to know you're loved and appreciated. As often as you can, closing your eyes if possible, as often as you can, closing your eyes if possible, say to yourself as often as you can, if it's possible, close your eyes, so don't do it while you're driving. You don't do it while you're driving, and you really need some serious forgiveness. As often as you can, closing your eyes if possible, say to yourself today, hey, CJ, Lord have mercy. Lizzie, what's up? You know exactly what's going on in my mind right now. What you want to do, as often as you can, closing your eyes if possible. Say to yourself today, closing your eyes if possible. I'm glad this is a sweet way for you to start your day, CJ. It's a great way for me to start mine. Closing your eyes if possible, say, forgiveness is my function as the light of the world. I would fulfill my function that I may be happy. So as much as possible, say, forgiveness is my function as the light of the world. You want to kind of play with it so you can feel it. Forgiveness is my function as the light of the world. Forgiveness is my function as the light of the world. Forgiveness is my function as the light of the world. Correct perception is my function as the light of the world. Correct perception is my function as the love of the world. Correct perception is my function as the truth of the world. So correctly perceiving, seeing things correctly, and that is my function. That is your function as the light or the love or the truth of the world. Then you say, I would fulfill my function that I may be happy. I would fulfill my function that I may be happy. I will fulfill my function that I may be happy. I'll fulfill my function so that I can be happy. I will correctly perceive so that I can be happy. I would fulfill my function. You would fulfill your function that you may be happy. So it goes, forgiveness is my function as the light of the world. I would fulfill my function that I may be happy. I will fulfill my function that I may be happy. What's up, Serena? I haven't seen you in a while. I'm sending you a lot of light and a lot of love. It's good to see you online. Forgiveness is my function as the light of the world. I would fulfill my function that I may be happy. So your function is to be here and to be sane. Your function is to have a sane mind. Forgiveness is a sane mind. And a sane mind is a mind that's seeing things correctly. And when you're seeing things correctly, you will know it because you will what? You won't feel tired. You won't feel fatigued. You will feel strong. You will feel invulnerable. And you will be happy. If you're not feeling that way, you aren't seeing things the way that God wants you to see things, according to A Course in Miracles, right? So devote a minute or two to considering your function. Just take a minute or two to consider that your function is to be a sane mind here, is to be light here, is to be the truth here, is to be the love here. And I want you to also consider the happiness and release that it will bring you if you're fulfilling your function of forgiveness. It's going to bring happiness and release to who, Earl? It's going to bring happiness and release to you, Earl. And it's going to bring happiness and release to you, my mighty companion. So I want you to let related thoughts come freely. You want to let any kind of related thought to the thought of forgiveness and release. You want to let those thoughts related to forgiveness come to you freely. You know, realizing that forgiveness will take away your fatigue and strain and sickness and guilt and pain. Knowing that seeing things correctly will take away our guilt and fear and pain. Your heart is going to recognize these words. Your heart is going to recognize these words. From this lesson 62, forgiveness is my function as the light of the world and A Course in Miracles. Your heart's going to recognize that what you are saying to yourself is true. And in your mind is the awareness that what's being said is true. So should your attention wander, you know how our attention tends to wander when we're trying to focus on the truth. So should your attention wander, repeat the idea. Forgiveness is my function as the light of the world. Forgiveness is my function as the light of the world. Perceiving things correctly, that's my function as the light of the world, as the truth of the world. Forgiving, which is seeing things correctly, seeing things with love, seeing things with peace, interpreting what's going on correctly. That is my function here. And then you tell yourself, I will remember this because I want to be happy. I'm going to remember this today because I want to be happy. I'm going to remember this today because I want to be happy. I will remember this today because I want to be happy. What is it that I'm going to remember today because I want to be happy? I'm going to remember that forgiveness is my function as the light of the world. I would fulfill my function that I may be happy. Forgiveness is my function as the light of the world. So I'm going to say that for a minute. Forgiveness is my function as the light of the world. Forgiveness is my function as the light of the world. Forgiveness is your function as the light of the world. Forgiveness is my function as the light of the world. Forgiveness is our function as the lights of the world. Forgiveness is my function as the light of the world. Forgiveness is your function as the light of the world. Forgiveness is your function as the light of the world. Forgiveness is my function as the light of the world. Forgiveness is your function as the light of the world. Correctly perceiving is your function as the light of the world. Correctly perceiving is your function as the light of the world. Perceiving correctly is your function as the light of the world. Perceiving truthfully is your function as the light of the world. Perceiving truthfully is your function as the light of the world. Perceiving correctly is my function as the light of the world. Perceiving correctly as my function as the light of the world. Correctly perceiving is my function as the light of the world, as the light of the world, as the truth of the world, perceiving you with love, perceiving you with love, perceiving you with love is my function. Seeing you lovingly is my function as the light and the truth of the world. Forgiveness is your function as the light of the world. Well, mighty companion, thank you for doing this with me. Go to my website, www.earlpurdy.com. Have tons of videos that you can watch for free online of my classes. And also, you will get information about the one-on-one counseling, advising, mentoring, coaching services that I offer. And you are awesome. I'm also doing several Facebook Live classes, so therefore you can find out more about that also. So make sure you hit the appropriate icon so that you will know whenever I come online live. I'm going to be doing spontaneous Course in Miracles classes also. So there's going to be a lot of interaction with us, and I'm looking forward to that. Forgiveness, don't forget, I love you. Listen to this all through the day. Forgiveness is my function as the light of the world. Forgiveness is your function as the light of the world. You are awesome. I appreciate you. And may the Course be with you. Yes.